well, for those of you that weren't here for the first press conference, and Jason had introduced me already as well, my name is Ruben Nunes. I am the president and one of the founders of Earthrise Space Incorporated, which is a nonprofit dedicated to developing space technology in collaboration with academic institutions and the space industry. And I would like to just go ahead and speak to you a little bit more about what this announcement entails. I'd like to give you a little bit of background so you understand what's about to be announced. The Google Lunar X Prize is a competition where there are many teams that are participating internationally with the goal of landing craft on the lunar surface and travel 500 meters, send data back that would use compromise of HD videos, several panoramic views of the moon, an email and a text message. And for the first team that completes such a mission, the grand prize is $20 million. Second prize is $5 million, and there's $5 million worth in bonus prizes. We are the Florida team of the Google Lunar X Prize. Our project is called Omega Envoy. We've been working on this project since October 2008, where we announced our official status in Chicago during a conference from ATK. And each year we have a team summit. And during these team summits, we meet with all the other teams competing in the prize, and we keep each other up to date to a certain extent, of course. We tell each other what we're brewing in the background to know where we stand and how the competition is going. The deadline for the competition is December 31st, 2015, and we intend on launching by the end of 2014. With that being said, our announcement today is that we have signed up our first payload customer, which is another Google Lunar X Prize team, Team Angelica. They are here present today. There's nine of their members. As Joe had introduced, this is Gerardo Rocha, the president and team leader of Angelica. And this brings a quite interesting twist to the competition because this year, during the summit, we were talking about other teams teaming up. There's been other teams that have acquired other teams, but we are the first team to actually fly with another team together to the lunar surface. So this is quite the accomplishment, and I think it's a major milestone. And Gerardo, if you could please stand up. I'd like to do a little PR stunt here and
Can you look behind that?
oh yeah, sure.
I love it. It's always good about branding. Okay.
Got those pictures?
Take as many pictures as you want.
We can do more later.
Okay.
Excellent.
Well, I would like to say thank you on behalf of the only Chilean team on the Google Lunar X Prize, Team Angelicum, and I received the moon with honor, gratitude, and a lot of confidence that we will be there together very soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gerardo would like to say another few words. Right? You have the podium and the globe.
Thank you very much for your presence today here to listen to this wonderful news. This is something really exciting for all of us. I know it is for Earthrise and Omega Envoy, as well as for the X Prize competition. And of course, for the Chilean people and the team, that even though we are 9 of us here, there is a lot of team members in Chile watching this press conference by streaming. And they are in Santiago, in the Angelicum office. They are in Puerto Montt, in the Universidad Austral de Chile. And they are in Concepción, in the University of Concepción. The chief rover development of our team is Mauricio Enriquez, who came up with a rover Dandelion bio-inspired. You can check that on teamangelicum.cl. He's with us today. Mauricio. Chief rocketry development. I will put you into context. Why do we have a rocketry development section on our team? But he's with us today is Dario Rodriguez, and is aerospace engineering as well. So for us to accomplish this task, actually we were one of the last teams to enter the competition back in December 2010. And there in Chile there is no background in the aerospace private industry, even though the government aerospace industry is very limited. So we put ourselves to a challenge, and we found common interests in two main universities that I just mentioned, and the Angelicum Investments private company. And at a point, after 1 year and a half, doing a lot of prototyping and things, we found out that we wouldn't be able to actually accomplish all the technology requirements and the advancement needed to be really competitive in the Google Lunar X Prize. So we had a big meeting, a big thinking meeting, and we came to a conclusion that if we want to be competitive, we will have to hire some provider of some services. We will still be able to develop robotry and robotic and technology and rocketry, but we will not be able maybe to use it within the deadline of the competition. So we thought to be competitive, we will still pursue our technical advancements technologically and everything, but we will hire the transport to the moon. So this is the reason we approached many providers, and we found the Earthrise to share with Angelicum the same spirit. They are also in a lot of technologically and scientific advancement. They have demonstrated. You can see the open house today, and you can see what they have. You can see their tools that they are developing. You can see their forward thinking. You can see that they are sharing all this in a non-profit corporation with students, with colleges, with universities. And this is actually the big project. I think the external part of the project, yeah, we will land a rover in the moon, and we will have that 500 meters, maybe more. Hopefully we won't delete Armstrong footprint. We will be there sharing a dream of education, of saying a message of peace, of hope, of what we all as humanity will be doing in years to come. I mean, this is happening right now. NASA is encouraging the private aerospace industry, and believe it or not, some people in the 1400s believed the Earth was square. The Earth was square, and just a few ships would travel to another continent. Today, we fly airplanes every day, Europe, United States, whatever, America, and this is what's going to happen. This is our vision, what's going to happen next. So at some point, trips to the moon will be very common for many reasons. As today, many people travel for many reasons. So as Ruben said, we agree that this brings a new perspective into the competition Google Lunar X Prize. We are very grateful as well for the X Prize Foundation, who came up with this great idea of this kind of competition. They have many other competitions. You can check their website, and we are big fans of them. And even though we may finish in the first places, one was going to be first, second, third, whatever, but anyone who wins, actually, we all win, because this is great advancement for all the private industry around the world. And we are here in the United States. We came up with a couple of providers, some options we had in many countries. But we came up with a conclusion on the United States. Why is that? Because you've proved a lot of successful stories. You've had failures, but you've overcome that. And we believe you're an example of culture and an example of pursuing the goals. Things that may be really common to you as I speak are not as common in the rest of the world. And we took your culture, your advancements, your thinking as an example. We look at it with respect. We know that we have made baby steps doing our robotic advancements and our rocketry that we are dealing with. But we want to do it under the side, the vision or the rules that NASA and the people here in the private aerospace industry in the United States are doing it, because we want to be friendly. We don't want to be a hazard to anyone. So this is something very, very important for us. So what we expect in the Chilean aerospace industry, we expect to at some point encourage young generations, and we expect to develop our own self-launching capabilities. We expect to be able to hire more trips to the moon with Earthrise, so and maybe to Mars. Okay. And this is very inspiring. This is really awesome. This is very cool. We are so grateful. We are so happy and glad to be here. Thank you.
And to seal the deal, and after both our speeches, I'd also like to present with you a plaque symbolizing our collaboration together. And this plaque states that together we shall land on the moon and share our view of the Earthrise for all to see.
Perfect.
We're very honored to be joined by the president of Space Florida, Mr. Frank DeBello. Frank, would like to say a few words.
Well, I would, and really it's Ruben probably.
Good, Eric.
Let me offer my congratulations to your Chilean partner.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
I am thrilled as president of Space Florida to see the way this team has progressed over time. And this is naturally a very exciting competition. So my hat has been off to the organizers of this kind of competition. And I believe competition itself is a real enabler for the advance of the space industry. We see teams like this and initiatives like this as really a foundation point for Florida's aerospace industry. And we're doing everything we can to position Florida to be ground node for a lot of the future. There's no question that the defense component of the space world and the civil agency, NASA component of the space world, have been important legs of our history. But if you look at the revenues for the future and you look at the participants in the future, the commercial companies and the competitive university and entrepreneurial driven components are really representing the future of that marketplace. We are particularly pleased with Florida's success in bringing companies like Boeing and SpaceX, and now I'm talking about their commercial components to Florida, as well as Embraer and Xcor and Maston, and companies like this that really do represent the future. If you look at the leaders of those companies, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Paul Allen for Stratolaunch and a whole lot of others. They're used to being agile, innovative, and really an environment that's fast-moving and one where they can be very decisive. And this is something that we want to try to create in Florida. And teams like yours, Ruben, I congratulate the entire table of you exemplify what we want to see in the nation's future. We've been a supporter for Earthrise and their team since the very, very beginning, and really believe in what they're doing. I was thrilled to see that a number of Florida universities are participants with you.
Correct.
Because that gives us a broad base, and we need to get all of our universities, FIT and ERAL and UCF, and others as time goes on, included in what you're doing. But I was very, very pleased to see us also reach internationally and beyond the team, so that when we organized a trip to the UK, Earthrise was with us. And out of that forged a relationship with Railspace, which is a real technology and expertise center in the UK. And you've extended now even beyond that to this partnership with the Chilean team. And I can only congratulate you, wish you luck, and tell you that we're with you to the end. I look forward also to the day when you're placing a vehicle on the moon and we're all celebrating together. So again, congratulations to you, and let us know how we can help.
Thank you very much, Frank.
All right, well, we've heard from all our guest speakers today, so why don't we open it up to the media? Again, if you're with the media, we'll start with you first, and then we'll actually take members of the crowd. Please state your name and your affiliation, and I'm going to guess that Jim Siegel with the Celebration of Independence News is going to be first.
Thank you very much for that honor, Jason. Jim Siegel from the Celebration Independent newspaper. I have a question. This is kind of curious to me. Now you have two teams that are kind of competing for the same prize, and you're going to partner in getting your spacecrafts up to the moon. So I can envision that your spacecraft has arrived in the moon, the hatch opens. Who's going to be the first out the door?
Excellent question. Of course, we're both pursuing the prize, and we have come to an agreement where we would be landing at the beginning of a lunar day, which lasts about 15 days. We will come out first. Earthrise will be deployed first, and after a few days, then the Angelicum's rover will be deployed as well for that same purpose. Now, who ends up completing the 500 meters first, we have a head start, of course.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Questions? No, we can also open it up to members of the public if you want to ask questions. I see a gentleman back there. Yep, right there.
Are you developing the rockets to get there also, or just the payload?
To answer your question, we will be purchasing a spot on a launch vehicle, and we are developing the rest of the vehicles to get us to the lunar surface. And we are partnered with several other entities that are actually helping us develop the entire mission.
The next question I have, and I don't mean to throw fly in the ointment, but we have a Mars rover right now is doing what you people are planning on doing, right?
Yes, but we're going to the moon. We will be going to the moon, and there's different reasons why we want to go back to the moon. The last time we were there was back in the 70s. There's many resources that we would like to obtain and actually use on the lunar surface. There's been many different plans on going back from different countries, and there's scientists and customers that want to go to the moon, and also the tourism industry would also like to go back to the moon and implement such industries. So there's all these different things that you will be seeing hopefully within the next 10 years.
I could also add to that that what's different between what we're doing and what NASA has done with Curiosity is that NASA did that for $1 billion. And we're going to do this for significantly less as a non-governmental effort. This is kind of a commercial effort. We intend to establish a regular payload delivery service on the moon, which will be a commercial effort. This is not a government activity.
Tess, do you have to leave your hand up first?
Hi, what's the smallest size bus vehicle that you're gonna use to get this done?
What's the question?
Just restate the question.
Can you restate that?
The smallest size bus, what we call a bus in aerospace, the actual rocket, what's the smallest size that you're gonna use?
She's asking what's the smallest launch vehicle you can launch on.
At the moment, that's an excellent question. We were looking initially at using a Falcon 1E. That would be the smallest one.
The gentleman in the back in blue.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Blue, not ready.
Is this the framework for your lander here?
Yes, that is a 1-to-1 scale
Okay.
structure of the lander.
And what is your proposed landing sequence? I mean, how are you going to land that onto the lunar surface?
I'll take that. Essentially what happens is we have our lunar orbit insertion stage, which captures us in the lunar orbit and actually does the majority of the descent. And then once that stage is spent, it will separate from the LDV and impact into the surface. The LDV then will continue the remainder, about 20% of the propulsive descent, and touch down on the surface. And then at that point we'll have a door on this, it opens down, and the 2 rovers will be able to get out.
And one last question, if I might. In terms of protecting your spacecraft from the radioactive belts, what are you going to be shielding your spacecraft? What's the plan for that?
We're not going to be in the radiation belts for long. When we pass through the radiation belts, we'll be encased within the launch vehicle, so there will be some shielding there.
Okay.
But I mean, we have multi-layer insulation and other elements, hardened electronics that will be able to address the radiation challenges.
Thank you.
Andy, I think you were next in the back.
Yes, Andy Sugar from the University of Florida. Can you just give us the numbers on the amount of payload available for the lander, if there's any, just for the lander, and then science payload capacity for both of the rovers?
Sure. So the lander has a payload capacity of 20 kilograms. Between 12 and 15 of that will be occupied by our rover. 1 kilogram of that will be occupied by the Chilean rover. So there's approximately 4 kilograms of commercial payload space still available on the lander. In addition, our rover has a 1 kilogram allowance for an additional commercial payload.
I believe the gentleman there in gray or beige. Look at your shirt.
Question for Mr. DeBello. How is Space Florida and the state supporting this effort?
Well, we've supported Earthrise on the front end of this with grant money to accomplish pulling some of the team together and performing certain demonstration testing and that sort of thing. But we would continue to watch what they're doing and look for opportunities not only to directly support them, but to bring partnership activity together where there's a technology or a relationship that we have that could help them. And I'll give you a perfect example. We have invested in a company that has basically figured out a way to store hydrogen in nanotechnology or nanotubes at ambient temperatures. Well, they have a lot of reasons for doing that, and a lot of applications that they're applying that to, not the least of which is fuel cell technology, because when you heat these nanotubules, it releases the hydrogen. But it also turns out that those nanotubules can be woven or spun or layered onto other materials to act as a radiation shield, because hydrogen is a radiation shield and it gives you a dramatically improved radiation protection. So this is one of those areas where many of the activities that we're involved in can help this team, and we're going to do everything that we can to do it. I stress that the kind of entrepreneurial venture that they represent is exactly what we want to see in Florida's aerospace industry.
Follow-up questions, anybody else? This is the good stuff, folks. Come on, raise the hands now. The young lady in the corner.
Popular Mechanic came out with an article today quoting Bridges of Moon Express saying that if you don't have launch vehicles 25 months out, then you're not credible. And the article highlighted 3 new competitors that do have launch vehicles already announced. So are we expecting to hear an announcement anytime in the next few months about a launch vehicle for Earthrise Space?
We are talking, as I had mentioned during the first press conference, we are negotiating with a couple of companies right now to lock down a launch date by the end of 2014, and that will hopefully be announced soon at the beginning of next year.
I might also throw out that the long lead times that you quoted are a strict requirement if you are buying an entire launch vehicle. Our vehicle, as you can see, is a fairly small vehicle, so we're not looking at buying necessarily an entire rocket. We are looking at the possibility of being a hitchhiker payload, if you will, having some other primary payload customer that's already in the pipe, already manifested, that's going to fly. And so their rocket is already in production, or planned to be in production. So that allows us to come in maybe a little bit later in the game and not have that long lead time requirement.
Young lady in the back of the thing.
Really nice, Lucia. You obviously have a lot of middle school students here today to explain to them what you're doing. So, on an ongoing basis going forward, what are your plans and how you're going to reach out to the community to really make science, technology, engineering, and math real to our students in K-12 schools?
What are we, just to understand your question, you're asking what are we going to be doing?
Right.
Okay, we certainly want to install or let's say, how could I explain this a little bit better? We want the young generation to be involved in STEM, and we want them to dream of accomplishing major missions and tasks and fulfill their dreams within STEM. We still intend on bringing in college students, middle school students into Earthrise Space Incorporated and letting them become familiar with what we are doing now and in the future. So
we're also a partner with the Brick Buddies Explorers, the Moonbots team, based out of Tampa. So there's other things like that that we will be pursuing to get the word out, to get additional exposure for especially Florida students.
The gentleman back here.
When I was growing up, Buck Rogers, 21st century, comic books, it really brought me in to the space thing. I hope I live long enough to see some of that. But if you had a commercial artist, somebody on your team, I don't know if it's Space Florida, your team, to come out with Marvel comic books or DC comic books with a realistic space thing, I really think it would boost up the kids again.
I think all the team members will agree on this one, and it's not usually the public relations spokesperson speaks up, but this is something that's kind of my field. I think all the team members will agree that either Ruben or Joe would make excellent superheroes. They certainly make great role models, but I'm not sure about the costumes. But I can definitely see where you're coming from.
fair enough.
Anyone else have any questions? Come on, don't be shy. We won't fight much. Come on. Well, with that, first of all, we'd like to thank you for attending today. We are very excited about all the events that are taking place at Earthrise Space Inc. As you know, we've made a lot of small announcements, including this very big one. We're very pleased to have Team Angelica with us, and we hope that you will all continue to follow along, because this is just the start, folks. You're just seeing the first baby steps. Wait till you catch us when we're running. And with that, we want to make sure you take the time, take a look at what Earthrise Space Inc. is doing outside, take a tour, get something to eat, and enjoy yourselves today. Thank you very much for coming.